Moving on, now we are going to start our first panel discussion titled Role of AI, IoT and Next Generation Technology in Developing Sustainable Transport Infrastructure. Technological information innovations like digitization and automation are transforming the logistics industry. This transformation is also driving change in the freight transport flows. Let me remind everyone in the audience that the event is still on. Please do not break the decorum, kindly be seated. Requesting everyone in the respected audience to be kindly seated and not to break the decorum. The transformation that we are talking about is also driving change in freight transport flows by all modes of transport. The panel will discuss how leveraging technologies such as AI and IoT can enhance operational efficiency by optimizing transport routes and therefore reduce the environmental impact. Join me as I welcome the panelists. Joining us on stage, please put your hands together for Lieutenant Colonel Alok Shankar Pandey, Group General Manager IT and CISO, Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. With a round of applause, thank you very much. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Joining us up next, Mr. Rahul Yadav, IRTS Deputy Chief Operations Strategy and Planning, DMRC. Rahul sir, I'm very sorry, but before you get seated, I would like for you to face the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Mr. Rahul Yadav. And now you can be seated. Thank you. Joining us up next, Associate Vice President, Sales and Distribution at Jindal Stainless Limited, Mr. Ranit Rana. Joining us up next, Managing Director, Rail Runner Innovations Private Limited. Please welcome Mr. Manish Puri. And completing the panel, a former army officer. She currently heads Intermodal for Maersk South Asia, driving sustainable multimodal transport solution. Please put your hands together for Major Jyoti Joshi Mittar. Requesting the moderator for this particular session, Lieutenant Colonel Alok Shankar Pandey, to kindly take it forward from here. And due to the paucity of time, I would request you to be kindly mindful of the TikTok Baba right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So very good afternoon to everyone. And at the outset, I would want to thank ICC for organizing this event and also congratulate them on the centenary year. Insofar as the topic for the session is concerned, which is leveraging emerging technologies or next generation technologies like AI, IoT and machine learning for evolving a sustainable transport infrastructure. The topic is very relevant, especially given the context today. And I'll take a cue from where Kanishk left. If we are looking at $1.2 trillion contribution from the logistics sector to a $5 trillion economy, we're looking at 25% of the whole GDP coming from the logistics sector. And we have poised at a very crucial juncture today where you have a lot of infrastructure projects coming up in various logistics sectors, as also a plethora of technologies which have just come over on the skyline, if I may say slightly better than skyline, which have started to be adopted in various sectors. So this session becomes very important to at least look at how these emerging technologies can be adopted, and we will go through the eminent panelists that we have with me, their experiences of adoption of these technologies, exploitation of these technologies, the challenges that they faced, and what roadmap or what is the expectation, their expectation going forward. So I'll start first with Major Jyoti. So Jyoti, what has happened is we have seen a lot of technologies and a lot of buzzword around technology, AI, ML, IoT. My first question to decipher the maze that I would put to you is, do you think these technologies are actually relevant to be absorbed, or there's a very big hype around them and people are just rushing after them because of the fear of missing out?
So, technological struggle to answer a technological question. So, so what I would say is, not every new trending, shiny tech is a business solution, right? When you're looking at technology, I think it's really important to also ponder as to whether it makes business sense to you or not. What is the pain area that you are trying to resolve with that particular technology? Is the new technology going to bring more operational efficiencies? Is it going to bring in exponential growth in customer satisfaction? Is it going to bring in cost optimization? So whether it addresses your pain areas or not is the biggest test that you decide whether a technology is good or not. And well, there's a August gathering here and esteemed panelist here, they already know, what is automation and what is AI per se. Just for the sake of repetition, automation is something that, you are doing certain things where the rules are set by humans, and you are doing it with some kind of, you are trying to remove any manual intervention and you are doing it on a auto mode. Whereas AI is basically the system which has an intelligence of its own. It thinks, it learns, it adapts, and it decides. So in terms of logistics, right, I am taking care of the intermodal. So what I would be looking at technically or practically as well is cost optimizations, route optimizations, how do I give visibility to my customers, how do I get operational efficiency in there. So if I'm looking at a forecasting, route optimization, maybe AI is the tool for me. But if I'm looking at a visibility, track and trace, then IoT is the way for me. And if I'm looking at, reducing the manual intervention, eradicating the repetitive tasks, then it is a small automation that can fix the problem for me. But logistics is a complex subject, right? We have complexity of weather, we have complexity of infrastructure constraint, we have complexity of so many kinds that come when you do a logistical operation. So to hand over everything to AI is also not something very practical here. But some of the industry segments are doing it really well. So if you look at airline ticketing, right, they have all those machine learnings built in their tools as to what will be the seasonality, how to behave in a weather situation, what will be the demand surge in order to have a dynamic pricing for their airline tickets. So I think at the end of it, no technology is good, bad, worse. It is what your pain area is, and you adopt the technology as per your business scope or the value that it brings to the business. So that's my take. Yeah.
Thank you, Jyoti. Very pertinent point brought out by you. Technology has to make business sense before it is adopted. Now I'll move to my friend Manish, who wears multiple hats, and I'll ask him to take out a rabbit of one of his hats and probably come out with the throw some light on the first part that I said, fear of missing out, and second, if technology has to be adopted, especially in the logistics sector, do you think it is going to be ground up or it is going to be top down?
Thank you. So first and foremost, technology is an enabler. Technology itself is not the solution, right? So when we look at what technology is going to do is it's going to solve a problem for us. I think the job of the logistics sector or the jobs of any one of us is to identify the problem, identify a pain point, and look at whether technology, and it could be AI, it could be IoT, it could be an automation, as Jyoti was saying, whether technology can help me solve that problem faster, cheaper, more efficiently in some way or the other, right? So I think we tend sometimes to go a little overboard and start looking at technology as something which is independent of the problem that it is trying to solve, right? So it is a problem solving technique. For generations, people have been doing it. The one example I like to use is, for example, from the generation from which I come, when I go to a shop and I'm buying something, invariably when the shopkeeper is adding on a calculator, I'm adding on my head and seeing whether I can get there faster. Sometimes I can get there faster. I don't think any of today's generation can get there faster. But that's not a function of their inability. That is a function of how technology has taken a skill set and made it better for the current generation, right? So very clearly, technology is an enabler, and we need to look at it from that point of view. Secondly, whether technology should go bottom up or top down, I feel that the questions will always come bottom up, right? The solutions, it's open-ended, right? There is sometimes a lot of sense in looking at solutions in other sectors, in other industries, and adapting them and therefore bringing them top down, right? But in many cases, and in the logistics sector, and I've always said that this is a sector which is a very brick and mortar sector. At the end of the day, we are transporters. We are people who provide a service of getting goods from A to B. I know a lot of people in logistics don't like to say that we are transporters, but I like to say that that's what we do. We move things from A to B. That's our fundamental objective, efficiently, right? So from that point of view, yes, it has to go bottom up. The problem has to come from the bottom. The solution can come from the side, from the top, anyway.
Thank you, Manish. Very insightful. And I love the point that you made about technology being enabler, because most of the people tend to jump upon any new technology just because they want it in the arsenal that we also do this. And we forget the core business concerns at times. Now that technology being an enabler and a business case has been established, let's listen from Rahul. What and where have you used the emerging technologies, and what dividends have they paid out for you?
Thank you, Colonel Pandey. Taking a cue from our fellow panelists, like Sin said that AI is an enabler. I want to segment the discussion that, till now, having technology, IoT, internet, computing system, and AI are two very distinct things. The moment you bring in AI, there is a concept called machine learning, where is a decision making involved. Prior to that, whatever technology we are using, they were making things faster, but we did not allow them to take decisions. In the future, with the advent of AI, that decision making will come into picture. So, but the core concept remains same. AI will always be an enabler. So the end goal, the input and the starting point and the end point. For example, in case of logistics, in case of transportation, since a lot of discussion has been done in case of logistics and transportation across India, I will remain fixed on the urban part of it. Urban transportation, when we talk about, the sole objective is to take either commodity, which is goods in this case, or the individual from point A to point B safely, securely, comfortably. That will always remain the same. Either you bring a technology or you bring AI. Having said that, with the adoption of any technology, there are a few clarifications that I need to make. There is always so much of buzz. When the cloud computing came, when IT came, when the app ecosystem came, there was so much of buzz around it. The buzz is there, but it always takes a technology much more time than we think initially. Second, the impact factor which a technology has will always be much more than we could imagine right now. In the case of Delhi Metro, I would just say when you're using technology is always be segmented around 4 parts. First and foremost will always be the customers. How you are making the life of the individual customers better. So for example, Delhi Metro started with digitalization in terms of ticketing system. Right now, more than 50% of the tickets are actually being generated digitally. It is also through the number of channels. You can have cards, you can have digital segment as well. We brought in actual AI in the form of a Chetna chatbot, which assists you in planning your journey, providing you the route map, the congestion, everything's there. Second part is the operations and maintenance. So in operations part, Delhi Metro has taken lead in India in terms of driverless train operations. So like maybe most of you are knowing, the magenta line and the pink line in Delhi are actually running without drivers. It's a big leap forward. So what we have taken forward is when you're talking of the autonomous vehicles. So it is the similar concept brought in the rail segment. So the whole idea of autonomous vehicle is to run a system or run a vehicle safely in a safe area around. So the technology that is being used is communication-based train technology, CBTC that is called. And we are actually running without roving attendants, without drivers, the train is being run. Third part is the maintenance. World over, the maintenance segment where the technology is making much inroads in part of IoT and AI in the coming years will be predictive maintenance. So how are you installing the sensors so that prior to the failure point you have an access point that, okay, I need to make an intervention. There will always be some basis line which will tell, okay, this is the strength factor of the, for example, in this case, maybe the building, rolling stock, the track that you're using. So that in itself is going to save 25 to 30% of the cost because you are repairing the asset prior to its failure. We are working very closely on that, taking cue from some of the best places like Hong Kong has implemented second lead in predictive maintenance. Last part would be the business component. How you're using AI in the business segment. Just a small example because of the paucity of the time. In one of the lines, you can actually see the occupation of passengers in a particular coach. So prior to boarding, the passenger knows, okay, in the 6th coach, I have 15 seats left. So you can plan things accordingly. These are some small interventions that Delhi Metro has made so as to make the life of the commuter easy. Thank you.
So thank you, Rahul. Very important that you highlighted the difference between automation and intelligence, artificial intelligence first, because a lot of people, while absorbing technology, tend to solve, again, problems which can be automation-related problems through artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence-related problem through automation. I'll now move to my friend Ranit over here. And Ranit, you have been in the manufacturing sector and steel. So in the manufacturing, how are you looking at these new technologies? And especially, many people are talking of the manufacturing 4.0. In fact, 5.0 is what being talked now. So manufacturing 4.0, what is the impact of technology in manufacturing 4.0, and how have you adopted, or what is your learning curve till now?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Major Pandey, for this question. So Colonel Pandey, for this question. So I've been in the steel segment, all through my life, Tata Steel, Jindals. So, when I was going through this, if you look at the title of the session, it says role of AI, IoT, and next generation technology in developing sustainable transport infrastructure. So it took me a long time, to basically, to analyze, how much benefit that sustainability will get, if you are able to implement this. I'll share with you my concerns, and I have several, queries on that. But first of all, coming to his question, of course, these technologies are there to stay. And if you look at the manufacturing segment, and particularly the steel segment, digital twin is something, which is gaining traction. And primarily in areas, in production units like LD, or for the steel making, or for the blast furnaces, where it is extremely difficult, to really observe, because it's covered with molten metal. So we need to make use of digital twins to identify the problems and also for predictive maintenance. So definitely that's one technology which is getting implemented in manufacturing segment. Now coming to my questions, and I have several of them. So, AI, IoT, the basic foundation is they run at, amazing speeds. And for that, you need to have semiconductor chips. The production of semiconductor chips, emits a huge amount of carbon dioxide. I was just reading one of the articles, and it says by 2030, the semiconductor industry is going to generate 277 million tons of carbon dioxide. Now, whenever we are focusing on developing sustainable, transport infrastructure, we are looking at decarbonization. So on one hand, we are implementing technologies which are going to generate huge amounts of carbon dioxide. So parallelly, we need to develop, enabling technologies, for example, carbon capture technologies to neutralize this generation of carbon dioxide. Secondly, I was also going through, all of you know that shortly India is going to become one of the leaders in data centers. Today, America leads the pack with 5,000 data centers, followed by Germany, I think, with 500. Then you have UK, you have China, and Canada. India today has about 155 data centers. And, it was in 2024. And in 2026, it's projected to double. Now, each of these data centers, they generate 12,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually. So, India is poised to become the data center of the world, maybe second to US over the next 3-4 years. But then do we have the enabling environment? Do we have sufficient carbon capture technologies or, people focusing on reducing carbon dioxide emissions to address this huge generation of carbon dioxide? So that's, one of the questions, which I had, that on one hand, of course, we will be utilizing artificial intelligence, we'll be having Internet of Things, but then how do we eradicate or how do we address the problem of carbon dioxide emissions? And if you have attended my session in the morning, it says that the whole world is trying to, limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade. However, in last year, 2024, the temperature rose by almost 1.7 degrees centigrade. And, even if it rises by 1.5 degrees centigrade, it's going to have a catastrophic influence on the world. So this is my, question. And of course, I have several more, which I'll try to, put forth as we move forward with our discussions. Yeah.
Thank you, Ranit. Your questions and response, rather questions, actually tempt me to take off on a different tangent, because sustainability in the context of probably what we're discussing today, or even largely, even in boardrooms, is what is talked is of business sustainability. Ecological sustainability is a different chapter altogether, and even with all the parameters of scope evaluations or measurements in place, people are not looking at scope 1 in any case. So they are only looking at operational net zero. It doesn't matter if my carbon emission is offset to some other place or there are tangential. Yes, that's a much larger debate. Probably we'll have to look at it. I'll move to Jyoti now. Jyoti, you are in the probably in that sphere where you are agnostic to the mode of transport. So you're in the surface, land, sea, everywhere. What use of AI have you probably come across in your organization, which probably harmonizes or brings in efficiency in the movement of freight?
Yeah, so just to add or answer to your question, and just to show, what Maersk is doing per se, we have now 11 methanol powered vessels, and the count is only increasing. And in a world trade where commercials really matter, still Maersk, as a commitment to climate change, has brought in these 11 methanol vessels. it's a front runner as far as the global shipping lines are concerned for its climate commitment. Yeah. In fact, now we are also, offering EV solutions for containerized movement, which has not been done so far in India. All of your container movement, EXIM container movement, is through normal diesel or diesel trailers. So we are moving on to EVs in some segment where the infra for charging is available with us. Yeah. Now, on the AI front, I think this audience is the first audience to actually listen about it, because this is one thing that Maersk is now bringing. We are bringing one of the most powerful AI tool for shipping industry for the very first time, and it's called Maersk Visibility Studio. So basically, from a descriptive visibility, we are moving towards prescriptive intelligence. I know these are big jargons, so I'll just add 3 more jargons and then in a layman language tell you a simplified AI version. So basically it has ETA prediction models, disruptive intelligence, and also recommendation engine in this AI tool. So say for example, if you have booked a container from anywhere in India to anywhere in US, you are told that with the system that, and right now also you come to know that my ETA is say around 33 days. But then there are changes midway. There is weather, there can be geopolitical instability, there can be congestion at the destination port, there can be congestion at the transshipment port, and number of complexities that are there in logistics can come in. So the system automatically, through its own machine learning and AI tools, will give a predictive ETA, and not only give a predictive ETA, but also using its own intelligence without any manual intervention, using its own intelligence, will start downstream actions also. So it can, through its recommendation engine, tell the customers, do you want to roll the cargo? Do you want to hold it at the transshipment port? Do you want to not take it to the port and look at some other destination where it can be taken for a lesser duration, so on and so forth. So this gives the customer a full end-to-end visibility. The handling of whatever disruptions that are happening midway to their cargo. And this AI tool, the Maersk Visibility Studio, is capable of being API integrated with the company's, the customer's API setup as well. So you have real-time dashboards available with you to look at the visibility of your cargo. So imagine you are Apple, and Apple has a high-value cargo which needs to reach before September, because that is when the holidays begin in the Western countries. They want it on the shelf. So these are some of the models that Maersk is now bringing, and it's a very powerful AI tool, which is not only giving you the visibility, but it is also prescriptive intelligence, handling decisions on your behalf.
Thank you, Jyoti. I move now to Manish. I would want you to wear your consultant hat now and come up with probably use cases that you have seen, or you would want to advise the people in this logistics sector where it makes real sense to adopt emerging technologies to make business cases.
Okay, so let me talk to you about something that I've actually been doing for a company that I represent, Rail Runner, which is a rail cum road technology company. So I mean, part of the product is a physical product where you have cargo moving from customer's door to customer's door in a seamless manner without being handled anywhere on route. Road vehicle, rail vehicle, road vehicle, all seamless, right? So that's the technology from the hardware point of view, right? But what we are also developing as a sort of adjunct to this technology are two separate products. One is a product for the customer, which is about ensuring that as far as the customer is concerned, he has both visibility, so that there is information, and his experience should not be affected by the choice of mode. So he should not have to decide, or he should not have to change his decision making based on, oh, today I have to plan for a truck, today I have to plan for a train, today I have to talk to this. So, basically integrate all of that in terms of decision making. So that's a product that we are working on, so that the customer basically says, what is my outcome? What is my requirement? I want to go from A to B. The system then tells you, obviously, if it's something that is being developed for a particular proprietary technology, it will work with that technology. But it can also be generalized. Putting on the, you can have a system which tells the customer that the best way of getting here is this combination of, it could be tech, it could be mode, it could be vendor, it could be various things. So that's one thing that we are working on. The second thing we are working on is, because the product requires an integration of chassis, bogies, trailers, handling equipment, we are trying to use technology, and here we are actually working with an AI generated or an AI engine, which will actually work to figure out what is the most effective and what is the most efficient way of optimizing how this whole system will work, right? So rather than having an operations team figuring out how many chassis I'll keep here, how many chassis I'll keep here, what is the kind of handling equipment I need in what place, this all gets done through an AI engine, which simply prescribes based on the demand. So at some point, these two systems also start talking to each other. So, and this is coming back to where we started, that at the end of the day, technology has to be the enabler. There is a problem, you need to find a solution. The days when you had to count the numbers in your head don't exist anymore, right? So what is the technology? Is it an optimized? So what we're doing is looking at optimizing AI as a combination to solve a problem for both ourselves and the customer.
Thank you, Manish. What you actually say raises a very important question is, do I look at technology adoption from the perspective of the end user or my own business case? Because then you have different transport operators in between, on the surface transport, on the sea, on the aviation sector. And then if Ranit has to move his, if he's looking at an end-to-end customer focus or a B2B transaction, move his production from place A to place B to his another business premise, how does he go about it? So I would come to Ranit now. Your thoughts on this multi-sector integration, and how open would you be to interface with an AI-based solution where your inputs, the intermediaries' inputs, and the end user inputs are all on the same common data platform?
Hello. Yeah. Well, if we look at the steel segment as such, our movements are primarily coils, sheets, plates. And if you look at Jindal Stainless, we are primarily in the domestic segment, where most of the movement happens by road. And now, of course, with our expansion plans coming into play, we are also, putting a lot of effort in expanding the rail network. Now, how does AI, come into the picture? Well, of course, the first and foremost, what comes into my mind is the route optimization, and henceforth, efficient utilization of the modal of the transportation mode between the steel companies on the road, or steel, road, and rail. So yes, route optimization comes to be, seems to be the most appropriate AI solution. Other than that, Internet of Things, we have read about automated driving, self-driving. Well, that's possible, in terms of rails. because of course, you've read that many of the metro lines which are coming into play, which are already in operation, they have self-driving cars. So yes, rail wagons, as far as, from the rail perspective, it is possible, the IoT. However, it's not possible for road movement, because in Indian condition, we really do not know what you will be facing driving on roads. So yes, using technological intervention, one is of course the process optimization, the capacity utilization of the vehicles, and maybe Internet of Things for self-driving, rail movement.
Thank you, Renit. Rahul, I'll come to you. With the new regulatory frameworks emerging every day, data protection, the GDPR, the DPDP, the Privacy Acts, etc., and now you're operating a chatbot organization. And only yesterday I was going through an article. Either OpenAI or Google Gemini has said that in view of GDPR and the privacy, they do not recommend use our algorithms or do not share your data with our algorithm. And the most common low-hanging fruit was use these llamas which are available to generate chatbots. So how does the emerging regulatory framework affect business operations?
Thank you, Colonel Pandey. Due to the paucity of the time, I will try to frame my answer in 3 segments. First will be what has been just asked. See, the whole discussion regarding the regulatory framework with regard to AI comes because when we're talking about decision making in case of AI, nobody knows what happens. Nobody knows how we take decision. Like we humans, if somebody asks you how exactly you came to a particular decision, you cannot pinpoint the answer. You can be as objective as possible, but ultimately there is an element of subjectivity involved. Same is happening in the case of AI. So what is happening in case of machine learning? You are feeding loads and loads, trillions of data. And there are several interfaces or layers which are actually working or thinking like human brain. But ultimately, how it comes down to the singular point, that is not very clear to the industry yet. It will take some time. So that creates the black box problem that we are actually facing. Now, when you talk of regulation, so when there is a merging of AI and transportation, so will the regulatory framework of AI operate on that, or the regulatory framework of transportation will operate on that? I mean, you cannot decide on that. It has to be in a conjunction basis. So the thing that stays is that when you're starting utilization of AI in transportation, it has to start from scratch. So there we have a principle called as security by design. So here it will be the infrastructure design from scratch. So there the semiconductors, the AI, everything will come in tandem with the steel and the cement and everything. And thereon you can make the framework in the future. However, world over, the regulatory frameworks are actually struggling with this thing. But I always believe that digitalization does not start with the tools. It starts with people. So whenever you are utilizing an AI or IoT framework, always understand that you have to start with people and the different segments they are involved in. So what are those stakeholders? One will be their customers. Second will be those who will actually implement the design solutions. And third will be the regulators. I just can say about the Indian Railways and the metro system. We have a very stringent system of Commissioner of Railway Safety, Commissioner of Metro Rail Safety. So no matter what new technology you bring into the system, you have to go pass through them. And they have been kept under Ministry of Civil Aviation, not with Ministry of Housing and Urban Development or with Ministry of Railways. That is for the segmentation that you have to bring in terms of delivery. Second part to it is that, like we are talking about the sustainable transportation. We'll just take a brief discussion, a little detour. That there has been like 2 modes in terms of development of transportation. One is the conventional mode and another is the sustainable mode. Conventional mode of transport planning has always been about reducing the vehicular congestion. The problem it has created that it induces the congestion itself. You go on building more roads, what will happen? People will buy more cars. You go on bringing in new technology frameworks to aid to that, again the users will increase. And that when it is happening when the percentage of road network in India is far less than the global average. We are around 10% of road networks, where the global average which is suggested is around 20-25%. The conventional mode don't even think about walking as a mode of transportation. What kind of a city you want to live in? Personally, I would want to be in a place where I can easily walk from point A to point B if I choose to. Right now, you cannot. The roads are congested, narrow. There are breaking points between. So the roads currently have been designed for people who are actually travel by cars. The sustainable model is very different. It focuses on people, the users. So, and the non-motorized transport part, which includes walking, cycling. And it focuses on the elements which create the least amount of environmental impact. So automatically they will focus on public transport. Eventually sustainable transport will be in the form of access to everyone. The city should be as accessible to an individual who does not own any private vehicle as it is to a person who owns a BMW. Second will be the terms of Second will be the equity. Normally we are actually deliberating between the social divide. What about a digital divide? Then there will be an AI divide. Third will be about the economic impact in terms of the expenditure. And fourth will be about the environment. So, I mean, just to sum up, there are certain elements which will be in conjunction with AI, IoT technology and the sustainable transformation in terms of transport sector. One will be the integrated use of land development. That is very largely being taken up by Gati Shakti, and a lot will be discussed in the second panel itself. Second will be terms of the transit-oriented development. That is actually happening with the RRTS, if you have read about it. Then there will shift towards public transport, non-motorized transport, making walkways. And a good point and example just want to share. What is the average utilization of a car in a day? How long it actually runs? The global average is 1 hour. For 23 hours, your car stands still. So what will happen if you have an autonomous car? The number will stay the same. So that is not the solution to it. So moving towards public transport, bringing in cleaner fuels, predictive maintenance will be the solution. AI is not a solution, it's just a means to an end. And we have to start from design thinking at the scratch, along with enabling cybersecurity solutions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, for your interesting thoughts. What you touched upon in the latest part was something which is of prominence and importance for the regulators, which is Regulations 4.0 or regulator of regulators. And obviously, finally, the panel has shared their thoughts, and it is I may not be wrong when I say that all thoughts revolve around one thing. There has to be a business case to adoption of technology, and that technology can be anything. So thank you to all my panelists for sharing their thoughts, and to the organizers. And though you are in a hurry, if we have time for 1 or 2 questions, we can just push it through if it is feasible.
I must offer my sincerest apologies, but I believe due to the paucity of time, we can squeeze one question relevant to the discussion.
If it is existing.
If anyone from the audience has a question, simply raise your hand and we shall pass on a mic.
So we have Mr. Suri. You're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is it totally unmanned? Because at one time you had driverless operation, but a man was there. You call him attendant, observer, whatever. So unless it is completely unmanned, having driverless is not much of an achievement.
Thank you, sir, for the question. First, my question is, do you really want it to be completely unmanned? Okay, just a lighter note. On line 7, it is not completely unmanned, that's by design. On line 8, that is a magenta light, it is actually completely unmanned. So in terms of technological capacity, we have that thing, but the guidelines say that you need to have one roving attendant. So the roving attendant is not sitting in the cab, he's just for emergency operation. But on the magenta line, we are actually running trains where there is no roving attendant at all. So
Since when?
It's been around 7-8 months at least.
Achha, because you started 3-4 years ago, is it?
The first phase was in 2017, then 2018. So there are actually grade of automation prescribed by the Commissioner of Railway Safety, and that we had to follow. So whenever we want, we run, and line 8 we are actually running. So every 2 trains out of 3 are running without any attendant.
In fact, to answer one more, add to that point, if you leave a train autonomous in the way that you are looking at, totally autonomous, you will be in violation of the EU AI Act, and most of the AI acts around the world are stemming out from there. So you'll never have a automation solution or AI-based solution where you'll probably not have man in the middle or man in the loop for critical systems. Thank you.
But in an autonomous car, we have a lot of them flying today. You have nobody.
That's
Autonomous cars. Yeah.
That's a totally different discussion altogether with its all vulnerabilities, presence, etc., etc. I think the organizers will be cursing me if I proceed ahead with them. Thank you.
Well, I believe this particular discussion can be summed up over a cup of tea or a cup of joe, I believe. Okay, with the same, could I please encourage all our esteemed panelists to kindly come forward and join us for a picture and to present a token of appreciation on behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce. To our esteemed panel, joining us on stage is the Senior Assistant Director, Ms. Nidhi Barman. निधि जी का स्वागत जोरदार तालियों के साथ. An absolute delight to have with us our esteemed panelists. Well, this particular section is my favorite section since they know what a celebratory moment is. Thank you for joining in with your claps. Thank you very much, Ms. Berman, and also to present a token of appreciation for your time and your invaluable insights. Joining us on stage is the Managing Director and CEO at Urban Infra Group. Please give it up for Srimati Mamta Shah. Since this is Mr. Ranit Rana's second session with us today, I'm afraid we've already delivered your trophy for your participation, your token of appreciation. Thank you very much. Absolutely, absolutely. And once again, I do not fancy myself a mind reader, but मैं सोच रही हूँ कि आप सभी ये ज़रूर सोच रहे होंगे कि उन सबको तो गिफ्ट मिल रहा है, पर हमें कब मौका मिलेगा गिफ्ट जीतने का? Well, this is your chance. I am going to roam about this hall. I will call out one random item. आपको सबसे पहले वो random item लेकर मुझ तक पहुंचना है, and you have to place it on my hand. The person who does it first wins, right? Super simple. For the sake of the picture, of course, let's do it for the gram. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for this very productive panel discussion. Thank you very much, everyone.
wonderful idea and very thoughtful and a great exhibition. I really congratulate not only for organizing this thing.
यहाँ पे आने के बाद मतलब 2 दिन हमने स्पेंड किया और 2 दिन में हमें काफ़ी सारे अच्छे क्लाइंट्स मिले। इवन सम हमें रेलवे की भी कुछ ऑफिसर्स मिले।
When we had installed our stall, we were getting all the supports, all the manpower, all the equipments and tools that we needed. It was really pleasant experience over here.